I recently spent some time out in the Texas Hill Country gathering new reference for upcoming paintings. Now, if I were a professional photographer, I'd be aiming to take beautiful, frame-worthy shots. But I'm a painter, so my photos are simply reference. They don't need to be perfect. So, what am I looking for when I take reference photos? That's what today's video is all about. And if you're not able to get out and take your own reference photos, no worries. I've put together a quick cheat sheet with great sources for royalty-free images you can use in your own paintings. Just click the link in the description to get your copy. If you're new here, I'm Layne Johnson. I help regular folks learn classical painting techniques so they can paint the landscapes they love and have fun doing it. If that sounds good to you, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It really helps support the channel so I can continue to make more content for you. Let's get started. So when I'm out scouting for reference, what I'm looking for, first of all, I go by my feel, but to break that down, especially if you're trying to teach it, I look for structure. And structure for me means, firstly, interesting masses, okay? But you also have to have lines. Your natural horizontal line is your horizon line. But there will also be other natural horizontals in the thing. But you need verticals. You need something that will break that horizontal. And those kind of things you're going to create, either they're going to typically be a focal point, or these verticals will be guiding lines towards a focal point. And I mean, that's what I look for. I look for texture. I look for interesting masses, structures, compositions. And, here in the hill country, you have rock formations. So that can be another interesting thing to look for. But as always, in whatever scene that you tend to paint or build, you are going to have something that has to be cohesive. So that's the challenge, is to find something and possibly condense it in a way that means either you're not painting certain details or you're painting more details in some areas, so you'll have a good focal point. Because sometimes when you have lots of texture, it can be overwhelming, and you still have to create a good painting. So those kind of textures need to be brought under control to guide your eye to something interesting in the painting. And along the way, you have a nice little journey there. And it's a nice place to visit, a nice encounter in this landscape, someplace that you will remember and want to go back to again and again. And the other thing I look at, it's not just structure, but it's light. If light, that's what makes a landscape interesting, is the way light falls on it. So we're getting here closer to the middle part of the day, and so your lighting is more from above, basically, obviously. But that creates a certain color arrangement, and these are pecan trees right here, but the light's coming down and it's just lighting them up like crazy. So those shadows you have this time of day are going to be very different than later or earlier in the day, and that's a challenge you just have to navigate to make it into a good painting. A lot of time, what I will be taking reference of isn't necessarily a composition for a painting, but very often I'm painting certain scenes at certain locations at certain times of the year, and that's the biggie. Because at certain times of the year, you're going to have your flora that are doing their thing at that time of the year, but not later in the year or early in the year. So it's good to record especially at the location. You might have flora that's only here or only at this time of the year. So record those kind of things. And then you're also recording the types of trees and again, still flora that are in certain locations. There are certain times of the year where mesquites are very, very green and they start graying down a little bit. That's true of a lot of the things in the hill country in the springtime. And then as they get later in the season, they gray down, those greens get calmer. So it's really important to pay attention to what time of year it is. At certain times of the year, the cactus are blooming with yellow flowers. Other times of the year, they have red pups the little apples on them. And some don't have that at all at certain locations. Like in the Big Bend, you have cactus that are purple there, but not elsewhere. So if you want to paint an authentic scene, it's good not just to try to collect a reference of a scene per se, but the information about the scene so that you can paint a really authentic painting. You know, I talk about texture in a landscape, and as you can see in the hill country, there's amazing textures. And sometimes people ask me, well, why do you paint so much cactus in your paintings of the hill country? And it's kind of comical because you know what? There's lots of cactus in this part of the country, in this part of Texas in particular. So it's there, paint it, it makes the scene authentic, and it's fun to paint. As I said, cactus are a really big part of the Texas Hill Country, and it's important to, you know, record various locations because it's slightly different depending on where you are. And cactus are so cool because they have different colors depending on which way the paddles are facing. So even at this part of the day, this is the mid part of the day, you don't see lots of cast shadows, but you have lots of different light sources being bounced around because of the way the paddles are facing, and that's very interesting. Sometimes what I look for are elements of scenes, and the thing is, if you do that, you have to, if you plan on using those in something else, you have to have light agreement. So very often I'm looking for interesting elements in the landscape. That could be a gate, it could be a road, it could be a certain type of tree. Sometimes you have to beef up certain things in your real reference. So it's good to have the right kind of reference, and it's also extremely good to be able to know your trees. So you're not just putting a mesquite on an oak. That would be a mistake. So get to know your trees. Sometimes what you have to do is you have to work with the light that's given you. Right now the sun's right there, which means anything that's right here is going to be direct sunlight. So what you have to do is to change your location. So you physically, if you're looking at trees down this way, they're going to be getting light from the side, but you have to go far enough to the side to get it. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I'll talk about looking for structure when looking for a scene and painting. This is a great example of it. You got this rock formation right here that I'm standing in a way that it's obliquely turning towards a mesa over here, where as the clouds pass by, the lights will light it up and create a really good focal point. This whole scene has several scenes in it. There's a beautiful tree, there's a trail over here that you could go in front of, and there's a really nice tree right here. Again, there's a vista, so that, you know, a vista is something that you could actually create a nice cloudscape with. But right here, just capturing all the structure. You have all this rock under your feet. Look down, and then contrast that to over here to the left. This is lantana that you would buy at a garden center. Yeah, this is growing naturally here. So it's just all these hard versus soft, beautiful things together, and that's what really attracts me to this area. Oh, this is great. I hope this gave you some new ideas on how to approach your own reference photos, whether you're taking them yourself or using an online resource. And if you're struggling to find good reference photos for your paintings, don't forget to grab that free cheat sheet with sources for royalty-free photos. Just click the link in the description below. Thanks for joining me in my studio. If you enjoyed this video, you'll also probably enjoy watching the videos I've linked on the screen. Be sure to click subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. If you're ready for more in-depth lessons, consider enrolling on one of my online courses where I teach classical painting techniques for landscape painters. You can find all my classes at laynejohnson.com or click on the link in the description below.